Today we're going to be installing these Relations Race Wheels sliders. These are their V3 version. They have a couple other versions that are different designs, but these are the V3 and we're going to put them on the 3rd gen Tacoma. So when you order the sliders, you're obviously going to get the driver side and passenger side slider, as well as 2 weld tabs, lock nuts, bolts, washers, and then bigger washers for some of the holes are bigger where the smaller washers aren't going to work, and you just need a little bit more behind the bolt and nut. You first want to start with removing a few bolts that are already on that you're going to reuse. First one's this back bolt, then you're going to do these 2 small ones. You're going to remove this bracket, and then we're going to push up this cord or wire, whatever it is. You're just gonna, there's a little tab on the back that you just pop off and push it up. There's also some other little tabs that you can pop off and push in just so they don't get damaged. For all the bolts, you're only gonna need a 12mm and a 14mm socket. So this tab goes in here. You kind of gotta, it's a little tough. There's a hole on the back side over here that you can like put your finger through and like wiggle it. But this thing slides down too far. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put a little bit of hot glue right here on this, just so it stays. I was gonna put it in the middle, but I think you can put it down a little further than the middle. And on the slider, there's a little bit of wiggle room. I'll show you. It's slotted, so you can not be so perfect with it. And then, but with the hot glue, you can just break it off and put it where you need to put it. A little bit of trial and error. This is probably the hardest part right here. So here's what it looks like after I put a little bit of hot glue on to hold it in place. So when you're installing the sliders, you usually want to have a couple people, or if you have a motorcycle jack, that's going to be the best because it's nice and big and flat and you can raise it easily. If you're working alone like I am, you kind of got to get resourceful. I use the jack on one side, and then the other side, you kind of just stack things under it to get it to the same height. Unless you have 2 jacks or jack stands, might be easier. With this, I'm just trying to get it high enough so I can put 1 good bolt on this side, and then I can slowly go through and do each side to just level it out, and then I can fine tune it from there. So I jacked it up, put a bolt in there. That one's still loose. And then this one, I just tightened down a good amount and it's holding up the entire slider. Now I can put all the bolts in. This one used one of those big black washers that I showed you at the beginning. So there's this box that's up here that you unbolted at the beginning that you need to take off and just dangle there, because there's a couple bolts that go behind it that you want to install, and then you're going to reinstall this. So the bolt that's behind the box, you actually have to flip it around so the nut's on this side, because it won't fit, the bolt's too long. So just flip it and you'll be good. And then once you have all those bolts tightened, there should be 7 bolts in there, and then you're all set. You can start on the passenger side. So now we're on the passenger side. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna undo this bolt. We're gonna take this box off, and it's gonna go on the outside of the slider. And then those are the only 2 bolts on the passenger side, so a little bit easier. Once you're all finished, there should be 8 bolts, including the weld tab down at the bottom. Put your little box back on, replace your factory bolt, and you're all set. Alright, so I just finished the install on the sliders. They look really good. Let me show you. Here they are. These are 8 degrees. So they are just slightly up. They're not 0. They're not like super tucked in. They look perfect. Ooh, I love them. Alright guys, so if you really like this video, please subscribe, like it. That helps me out so much. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below, or you can even DM me on Instagram, and I can answer any questions you have on them. Alright, I'll see you next time.